let's start with
All right.
little introduction here. I have skipped the
Okay.
intro. It was way too long, so yes, Burns, Mr. Burns. Who are you, my man?
I I'm Chris Burns, and I am a podcaster. I am a homesteader, a carpenter, a father. You guys have seen me on this channel before. I'm just here to shoot the shit with Ronnie Snowman. Um, he is my he is a friend of mine from Finland. We missed a couple, uh, I guess, scheduled Zoom meetings, so we're here again.
Yeah,
Um,
better late than never,
how,
as they say.
I guess so. So how's life been treating you then, Ronnie?
It's been good. I've been doing a lot of podcasting. I got a job now, finally again. So I'm
Oh,
locked into
that's
that.
interesting.
So I don't need to worry about that. And yeah, just waiting for the society to collapse and drinking beer while waiting.
And drink a beer. That's always a good ender for that. Well, my vice would be the cannabis, but yeah, it seems about the same here. We started homeschooling our children just the Tuesday of this the week, and it's an adventure. I got a well, she'll be 6 this month, and I've got a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old, and
How does that
they
work? Do you have a specific schedule you need to meet, or can you just teach them whatever?
well, actually, it's not a traditional homeschool. It's the damn e-learning, and actually, it's now that we've been into it, it's actually funded by none other than Bill Gates. He's one of the main funders of it.
Really?
It's the national. Yes, it is. And the curriculum so far seems to be, I don't know, on par with what we've always learned. I am having issues with the kindergarten though. Well, it's first grade. I'm sorry, it's first grade. It The indoctrination is very evident. I'm gonna go ahead and throw shade on the whole school right now because it. I'm gonna throw race out there. We're a white family, and there aren't many white people in this school, which is it's awesome. My daughter doesn't even really understand race. Okay, well, in the very small amount of time that they have with that teacher, they won't talk to my daughter at all. She cries to me about it. She says, "Dad, I don't think my teacher likes me." She's 5 going on 6. Well, basically the end of the week goes by. Now, like all of her avatars that she picks on her new games for school, that's how they're learning, basically, is by playing computer games. And well, her avatars are brown kids instead of what she would normally pick. She usually makes it look just like her, the white girl with blonde hair. Well, I don't know. That's psychologically fucked up for a 6-year-old. I think she's used to getting a lot of attention. And now she's in a school where she's one of 16 kids in her class. There should be time for her, but now she gets no time. That's
Is
one example.
is the teacher white also, or no? She is.
She's a white lady. She's probably 30 years old. Seems very sweet when we do one-on-one talk with her and my daughter, once a day. Um, she's nice to my daughter when she does talk, but when the whole class is interacting together, and it's only been 1 week. I'm probably just heartbroken for my daughter because she's sad. But I do see being in the mindset that I've always been, looking at conspiracies, looking at the realism in life or whatever I'm trying to say here. Um, I just see indoctrination with her age. When I look at my boys, the older ones, they're interacting constantly all day, But anyways, we'll probably take her out and put her into a nice little small school that's right up the street. And it's, something that we could go to and check on her all day, if we want to. The whole idea of getting them out of public schools, honestly, was because teachers tell their kids to not tell their parents shit. And that's been factual all through America, and it's definitely the same here. And
Yeah,
there's
that's
favoritism amongst the privileged kids with money. Privilege doesn't mean white, and you know that, I know that. Privileged kids, they come with money. It's class.
Yeah. So how much is a private school? It's like 10K a year or 100K or whatever. How much do you have to pay?
Shit, I'm not paying for this. This is a state-funded school. We wanted to rip them out of school as soon as possible. We did that, but I don't know what it costs a year. I don't think it's 10K for what we'll pay. We'll pay something. It'll be less than $1,000 per, per kid per year. What the numbers are showing up in my head is like $650. It's definitely affordable to pay for a school where you pick the curriculum, but most of them are funded by some sketchy individuals, and you'll see the Bill Gates Foundation come up, Bill and Melissa or Melinda Gates Foundation come up a lot.
So are they going to learn what's the name for the math that 2 + 2 is 5 because you round up some fucked up way?
Are you
Common
talking Common
Core?
Core?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Common Core.
no. As far as I know, I can't. No, I don't think so.
Okay, because I know Bill Gates was the founder of Common Core in LA, I
Right.
think. So,
And then but still, some schools and areas will only allow certain curriculum. I mean, Michigan, we do have a Democratic governor, although a lot of the state is still red over.
okay. Yeah, the school thing, my children are so young, but I'm worried. I don't know really what to do because I think now it's even mandatory for kids in Finland to go to school from first grade to, well, it goes to 12 now. So you have a lot of years there.
Yeah, it sounds the same here. But the Amish have somehow been able to get out of it at 14. They let their kids off at 14 and start working.
Okay. So they have some special exemption.
Well, they don't pay taxes, so they don't get representation from the state. They've made it. They've got the anarchist system set down. If it weren't for the religion, and they're very strict, I'd almost go with.
Yeah, I've been thinking the same when I've seen them. I'm like, they are really doing it. But then you have the religious part. I don't know. Can you even bring your wife, or do you have to give it to the older man in the camp, or how the fuck does that work?
I don't know. You might be able to trade them, but I'm pretty positive they wouldn't allow me with all my sins.
Well, that's the religious part. I guess you can get forgiven if
And
you.
well, they're also, I'm sorry, they seem to resemble a cult, you know. Um, Dads fucking all their kids, all their daughters at really young ages, and then you got the aspect of the Amish where they're having sex with their farm animals.
Oh shit. That's no fun. Yeah, I
I get,
just
I
saw a video from some Amish people coming with their horse and buggy, and they had a big fucking Trump flag. So I'm like, okay, that's weird.
They seem happy when you see them on their bicycles and with their horse and buggies. They do seem happy.
Yeah, yeah. When you talk about it, if they don't pay taxes, can they vote? It's like if you're not in the system, are you allowed to vote?
That's a good question. I've never looked into that, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, it would like the first thing is like if you don't pay taxes, I guess you're not allowed to vote. But then again, why would they represent Trump if they do not vote? That's just weird then.
I just typed it. I was checking right now. Can Amish vote? And then I screwed up. Can Amish vote?
And the answer is
It looks like they can vote. Yeah, it looks like they can vote.
yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense. Then why they had the Trump flags? It's
I mean, he brought
Amish.
money here, Trump did.
Do you see this?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I see it. What?
I'm screen sharing these
Okay.
Amish Trump people going around with their buggies. Hold on. Let's go Trump. I'm like, okay.
Well, I'm from an area it gets like that with the people around here. There's a lot of them, Trump supporters, and so I even now you see Trump 2024 flags everywhere. I'll tell you what, you drive up the street where I live at a restaurant, probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes up the road, they have QAnon rhetoric, where we go one, we go all type shit. And I, there's a lot more conservative people here than than the news makes it out to be. They don't hate Trump, I don't think. I don't know. I've got my own thoughts about him. I think he's just another puppet, a rich man out for himself. But I guess that's for another episode. I don't really want to talk about fucking Trump and the dirty Democrats and dirty Republicans. Can I go ahead and share what I've got on here?
Yeah, let's do it.
See, you and I had been talking about prison here. So I brought up a few things that I've been researching to put on one of my episodes. Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and play just a little bit of this for a minute.
Bamboozled.
Hoodwinked.
Let us stray, I tell you.
All the Malcolm X words.
Once
G.
again, you know what I'm saying? Now, a few of y'all might have already heard about this, about how the music industry has very close ties with the private prison system.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because the music business has invested millions of dollars in the private prison system.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you heard it correctly. Again, the music business and the entertainment business in general, meaning people who control the media, the music industry, and also
Publication.
private prisons.
Yeah, magazines, all that.
Somebody somebody sent me an article, like I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago.
Right.
And I read this article, bro, and I was like absolutely.
And share the other one. Now that guy was Crazy Bone from a very popular rap group here, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. Bone Thugs and Harmony. I'm sure everybody's who knows or in America knows who they are. He's just explaining this next one that I sent to you. Well, the private prison conspiracy is the movement, which began around 1984 in the United States to privatize American prisons, as has been done in the UK also, and turn them into for-profit businesses. The United States is the world's #1 jailer, and recently profits for private prisons rose 56% in the first quarter of 2013. Federal prison population in the United States has swelled 790% since 1980. Naturally, in this kind of industry, the main way to make more money is to incarcerate more people. In any kind of conscious, rational society, the privatization of prisons would never be allowed, since it sets up a situation where certain people, private prison owners, profit more as crime rate goes higher. It brings about direct financial incentive for private prison owners to increase the crime rate and thus attract more criminals into their operation. You may think that this incentive wouldn't necessarily lead to anything, but think again. We live in an age of massive deception, and a private prison conspiracy is yet more proof of it. Now, I don't want to read this whole thing. It'll take about 5 minutes to read it, but and I've got more articles I'd like to share to you. Do you want me to go ahead and read the rest of this?
No, it's fine. I get the point. Like, do they say how
Yeah,
they do it though? Like, yeah, they talk about the music industry here. Yeah. So they
they
said,
do. They do, and they do in that video I shared. They talk briefly about it here. I'll just go ahead and read it. Okay, it says how rap music was hijacked and manipulated to induce criminal behavior. In this shocking confession, a former Hollywood music executive who was very high up in the industry was one day invited, along with his colleagues, to a closed door meeting with a group of music business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. He reports how none of them knew the purpose of the meeting and all had to sign confidentiality agreements, which, if violated, would result in job termination. The men running that meeting meant business. Then a man got up in front and spoke to the group, saying that the corporations they all worked for had just invested in privately owned prisons, and that their work in the music industry could affect the profitability of these investments. At this point, the confessor felt strange and uncomfortable, not seeing the connection. But then it got worse. The man in front then suggested that all the music executives present could use their positions of influence to help make their corporate bosses more money, i.e., by using musical influence or music to influence people into committing more crimes, and thus increasing the amount of people in society needing imprisonment. At this point, some of the executives there became angry and a chaotic scene ensued. eventually ending with a man from the group controlling the meeting actually pulling out a gun. The confessor was escorted from the premises with the warning that he was never to talk about what happened. The scene ended with the chilling admission from his industry colleague, who had opened the meeting earlier, that this was bigger than the music business and nothing we'd want to challenge without risking consequences. Clearly, the confessor had just stumbled onto something much grander than a private prison industry or conspiracy. He'd come face to face with the global conspiracy itself, the New World Order.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's so fucked up.
Yeah, it really is fucked up. I mean, you know the influence that music has on people with their emotions, their actions, with their straight up mentality. Um, hell, I know I wanted to be a gangbanger when I was 14 years old because of rap music. You know, it was around the time when Eminem first started coming out and Dr. Dre and it everything. Oh, like I said, Bone Thugs and Harmony, they were all about being gangbangers. You know, so. And to be black, I could imagine in a country where you have been looked down on, where you have been basically taught to hate the white man, when you see rappers and they're profiting millions and millions of dollars, they're the top dogs in out of all of industries. That's what you want to be. You want to do what they're doing. And back then, they were gangbanging, they were slinging drugs, they were pimping whores. You know. Hey, I got this next article I wanted to check out. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industry and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable at the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we work for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in confusion. At the time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons and what any of this had to do with us. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who received funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more money the government would pay these prisons. It also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people were asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our question. He told us that since our employers had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remained. Our job would be to help make this happen by marketing music which promotes criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming increasingly profitable market for our company. And as employees, we'd also be able to buy personal stocks in these options. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" You know what, Ronnie? I think that was a fucking joke. That's crazy as hell. But you know, they move forward. This particular guy, I don't know who he is. He's gone. He's further on down. He says he's living in Europe. He's living a good life, just watching all this shit happen over here. But yeah, I've got some other stuff to share, uh, economics. But while I'm looking into that, I can't get in here right now. If you could if you could get out of here and yeah, for some reason it won't let me search anything. There you go. Now I can. Thank you. But I've been to prison. Uh, I'd say a total of 7 years in and out. Started when I was 14 years old, and there was definitely a market, that's for sure, as for everything. And I'm gonna go ahead and send you this and have you scroll down.
Yeah.
Oh, this is from
Yes.
prisonpolicy.org. It seems like every time a truck passes by, my internet cuts out a little bit, probably. If you scroll down a little bit, this is a little more, this will give you a little more of an idea of why. The total US government expenses on public prisons and jails, this is annually, is $80.7 billion. And on private prisons and jails is 3.9 billion. That's just what the government spends. That's not including what the people pay who are locked up and on the streets with loved ones in jail. Growth in justice system expenditures from 1982 to 2012 was 310%. And what I read earlier, it's like 750% is what the inflation was between 82 and 2013.
You're lagging a bit now. But it says annual cost to families of prison phone calls and commissionary purchases. 2.9 billion. That's
Commissary
a
purchases. Yeah, and commissary purchases, those if you have money in there, you can buy snacks or extra clothes or like little radios with headphones. That's what commissary is. It's basically gas station food. It's like if you were to go into a convenience store, that's what they have in the commissary list. And they have soap and toothbrushes and shit like that. But yeah, the percent of formerly incarcerated people who are now unemployed is 27%, which is, I mean, that seems low, but I mean, I would think it would be higher, but that's what they say on here. They only make 86 cents a day, the workers in jail. So, and they spend it all on the commissary list. So it's like having a company store, right? And it's the average earnings that somebody loses over their entire lifetime by being incarcerated is $500,000 for being incarcerated for 1 year. I thought that those statistics were pretty staggering when I read them, and it gives a good idea as to why an industry would have an incentive to make kids think that it's cool to be in jail. I don't know how it is in Europe, but a lot of the young teenagers, it's almost like a status thing. You go to jail and you get out and you're cool as hell. And it's not like that completely over here, but I'd say a good probably 30 or 40% of the kids in America will listen to the rap music. That today, actually, it's not so much about gang banging and dealing drugs. It has to do with doing drugs and overdosing and suicide and changing your genders. But
yeah.
yeah, so what
I don't think it's even close to the same here in Europe because we don't, at least in Finland, we don't have so much people on the street, like without house or work or something like that. We are such a small country. I think it's a scaling thing. If we had 300 plus million people in Finland, we probably have the same issues too. But when we're a smaller country, we can handle the like few hundred people that need some assistance.
yeah, for sure. Now I'm not gonna share anymore. That's kind of a teaser, right? My wife and I are working on a really nice episode about the prison industrial complex. If your viewers want to head over to my place, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, we're working on a nice long episode about the prison industrial complex, and I even talk about um, my time in prison. And I mean, if you have any questions about prisons like or anything, whatever, I'll answer whatever questions.
Yeah, I mean some like if you watch Hollywood movies, you see like you have every prison has basically 5, 6 gangs, and you have to choose one or they will kill you. That's the reality or just Hollywood.
Well, it's about half and half. Um, Basically, you can just mind your own business and make it through okay. At least where I was, you hear stories of worse prisons in different places, but yeah, there usually is about 5 or 6 gangs running the place. The cops in there don't run the place. The guards don't. As long as you steer clear of all that and can fight if you can fight if somebody tries to take your stuff from you, it usually is okay. But I've seen violence used on other people, and it's a very traumatic thing to see somebody get hit in the head with a padlock and sock.
That's just regular prison fight or some gang related stuff or what happened there? Do you know?
It probably had to do with somebody not paying it. It's a lot like the movies as far as looking at the gangs on the streets. How everything's about money and power. Now with the gangs, I know they're about structure, they have leaders. I can't really go into too much about the gangs in prison because well, it's obviously something I'm going to steer clear of. Just if how you don't want to be there in the first place, and when you join gangs, then you're almost guaranteed to stay longer. So I think it's I think it's redundant to get into a gang. Well, all that said, I was used to jail since I was real young. Like I said, 15 years old was my first time to have a Department of Corrections number where I was basically just when I started being the statistic. I was 15, and so when I got into an adult prison, I mean, I guess I knew what to expect mentally. You can always, you know, if you're going to jail, you can always pretend you're ready for but I mean, without the experience, you're not. You just can't be ready. I guess you just have to be brave, but and don't join a gang. The best that we can find.
Yeah, I don't think you get the things you're paying for though, because if you did, you wouldn't have internet issues at all. If you had like 125,
I believe you.
the
Yeah,
this
we just
this should
it's
be
really awful. It is. And we'll have like on the very busy weekends up where I live, you'll have people come in and take up all the bandwidth. Are you frozen?
no,
I'm frozen. Son
it's
of a
you,
bitch. See what
it's
I'm
you.
Oh. You know it's me. See, and it's a totally not even a busy weekend. But yeah, they'll just take up all our bandwidth. And this is what the way T-Mobile told us is um we are we're priority until we use up like 60% of our gigabytes, and then we get moved way down to the lower end of the priority scale. So basically there's nothing we could do as far as money. There's no fiber optics out here where I live. We rely on satellite internet, and I'm not sure if you have any experience with the satellites, but it's not efficient, not at all. If we get heavy winds, it goes bad. You can't really stream movies, not at least not with the Viasat is actually what they have in my area. Video gaming, you might as well just hang that up. You ain't playing no video games online. Call of Duty, you'll lose every time.
That's so fucking weird though, because I don't get it. They're supposed to implement this great reset in 9 years, and you don't even have internet yet. How the fuck are they going to do that?
Yeah. I guess in 4 years' time, and this isn't the internet, so I'm gonna change the subject just a little bit. It goes along with the liberal world order. California with 4 years, and I just heard this on Charlie Robinson today. I didn't fact check him. I'm pretty sure he's accurate. He said like 33% of California they want to have electric vehicles in 4 years' time.
Oh yeah.
Um, while they're trying to rely on a power grid that's unreliable. They're already having brownouts and blackouts. Am I cutting out, or is it just my video?
Cutting it
Ah,
a small bit, yeah.
all right. Well, I'm gonna try to keep running with my video for now. If it gets too bad, I'll go blank again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm checking my speed test at the moment. When
okay.
I'm recording this, I have a download 74.45
Jesus.
and the upload is 32. And
Hey,
that's
will you
29.19 29, basically $30 a month for that internet.
That's beautiful. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah, yeah,
all I can
I
do is
don't get
wish.
it. How your infrastructure is so fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you
Yeah.
haven't done anything in like 100 years.
Except war. We do a lot of war through
Yeah,
that's basically where our money goes for infrastructure. That's
yeah,
my guess, but I mean,
you have fancy bombs. You can't deny that.
yeah, somebody needs to buy them. We're proud to. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
the Ukraine is trying them out as we speak.
yeah, it's wonderful. I might as well say Israel's trying them out.
I gave you permission, by the way, to
Yeah,
record
to
if you want.
record. Yeah, I just found that out. Yeah, if you give me permission to share my screen too, that would probably help out.
Yeah.
I got a few on here I'd like to show you.
Yeah.
Dave, basically we're going straight conspiracy theories. I want to do a little test. I want to show you real quick, the internet test real quick so you can see. Yeah, and yours probably pops right up. I gotta wait like 5-10 seconds before a page loads and shit.
It was back in the 90s in Finland. We had that problem. They made it. Yeah, because I'm in a socialist country, so they made internet a human right.
Yeah, see,
So
me trying to do a speed test is making it cut out. Yeah, it goes along with what we're saying. It's not exceeding 35. Now it's at 16. So yeah, my download speeds are 15.04 UPS. Yeah,
one would think that would
it's
be
pretty
good enough, though, if you have like, well, maybe not the video, but
for surfing the internet, yeah, but for other things, not so much, man. I think I'm sharing my whole screen. Damn it! I'm glad that you're cool because I am definitely technologically not inclined.
I see you have a new mic.
Okay, well, yeah, well, it's the microphone I tried to make work last time. I've been trying to, the sound test ain't all that great. Did you drink a beer?
Yep. Like,
Good
why
deal.
not? I was so fucking tired. I was like, how I'm going to able to do this? Pick me up.
Well, I'm glad that you joined, and I am happy to be on your show again. It's a nice little aspect to the show.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't think I have ever said who I am to your audience. If you have some people that is not following me, okay, if you wanna check me out, I'm Enlighten Me with Ronny. I have a podcast. I had Richard Gage. I have David Whitehead. I've had Ricky, Charlie, a lot of fun people on, talk about pretty much everything. If you hear it on the news, you might not hear it on my podcast, but that's the deal. I'm not here to talk about, well, I do talk current events, but I don't talk about like the way you think about it. It's always conspiracy minded. So come out, check it out. Mr. Burns' mother, come on
Yeah, it's
to my
my
podcast.
mom. Next time I'd like to have my wife come on. You know what? She's gonna start joining me on my podcast. She's fun to talk to. She's a pretty lady.
Yeah,
She's good.
yeah. I was listening to not. It's the one before us. I think we had her on.
Yeah, talking about our accidental homestead,
Yeah,
how we kind of, we didn't mean to start a homestead, but we sure did. So
and he's
I
growing
brought up
wings.
this. Gotta have my Red Bull, man.
I can't hear you at the moment. You muted.
Now you can hear me, right?
Yes. Continue.
We'll figure this out. All right, I'm going to share this screen with you real quick, if I can
Let's do
figure
it.
out. Okay, this is on the Associated Press. I cannot mourn former colonies conflicted over the Queen. It's basically, they're talking about, we'll just read it. Upon taking the throne in 1952, Queen Elizabeth II inherited millions of subjects around the world, many of them unwilling. Go figure. Today, in the British Empire's former colonies, her death brings complicated feelings, including anger. Beyond official condolences praising the Queen's longevity and service, there is some bitterness about the past in Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and elsewhere. Talk has turned to the legacies of colonialism, from slavery to corporal punishment in African schools to looted artifacts held in British institutions. For many, the Queen came to represent all of that during her 7 decades on the throne, almost 80 years. In Kenya, where decades ago a young Elizabeth learned of her father's death and her enormous new role as queen, a lawyer named Alice Mugo shared online a photograph of a fading document from 1956. It was issued 4 years into the Queen's reign and well into Britain's harsh response to the Mau Mau Rebellion against colonial rule. Movement permit, the document says, while over 100,000 Kenyans were rounded up in camps under grim conditions, others like Mugo's grandmother were forced to request British permission to go from place to place. Most of our grandparents were oppressed. Mugo tweeted hours after the Queen's death on Thursday, I cannot mourn. But Kenya's outgoing president, Uhuru Kenyatta, whose father, Jomo Kenyatta, was imprisoned during the Queen's rule before becoming the country's first president in 1964, overlooked the past troubles, as did other African heads of state. The most iconic figure of the 20th and 21st centuries, Uhuru and Kenyatta called her. I'm probably killing these names, but I will move on. Anger came from ordinary people. Some called for apologies from past abuses like slavery, others for something more tangible. This Commonwealth of Nations, that wealth belongs to England. That wealth is something never shared in, said Bert Samuels, a member of the National Council on Reparations of Jamaica. Elizabeth's reign saw the hard-won independence of African countries from Ghana to Zimbabwe, along with a string of Caribbean islands and nations along the edge of Arabian Peninsula. Some historians see her as a monarch who helped oversee the mostly peaceful transition from empire to the Commonwealth, a voluntary association of 56 nations with historic and linguistic ties. But she was also the symbol of a nation that often rode roughshod over people it subjugated. I don't know what that even means. Rode roughshod. I guess it's just
don't ask me. You're the native tongue of
they're just
English.
taking your. Well, yeah, that's not good. But anyways, there were a few signs of public grief or even interest in her death across the Middle East, where many still hold Britain responsible for colonial actions that drew much of the reign's borders and laid the groundwork for many of its modern conflicts. On Saturday, Gaza's Hamas rulers called on King Charles III to correct British mandate decisions that they said oppressed Palestinians. In ethnically divided Cyprus, many Greek Cypriots remembered the 4-year guerrilla campaign waged in the 1950s against colonial rule and the Queen's perceived indifference over the plight of 9 people whom British authorities executed by hanging. Yiannis Spanos, president of the Association of National Organization of Cypriot Fighters, said the Queen was held by many as bearing responsibility for the island's tragedies. Now, with her passing, there are new efforts to address the colonial's past or hide it. India is renewing its efforts under Prime Minister Narendra Modi to remove colonial names and symbols. The country has long moved on, even overtaking the British economy in size. I do not think we have any place for kings and queens in today's world because we are the world's largest democratic country, said Singh, a 57-year-old entrepreneur in New Delhi. There was some sympathy for the Elizabeth and the circumstances she was born under and then thrust into. In Kenya's capital, Nairobi, resident Max Kahindi remembered the Mau Mau rebellion with a lot of bitterness and recalled how some elders were detained or killed. But he said that the Queen was a very young lady then, and she believed someone else likely was running British affairs. They're probably still running British affairs her whole reign, as they will for King Charles' 7-year reign. We might talk about that in a minute. Where is it at? We cannot blame the Queen for all the sufferings that we had at that particular time. Timothy Kaligira, a political analyst in Uganda, said there is a lingering spiritual connection in some African countries from the colonial experience to the Commonwealth. It is a moment of pain, a moment of nostalgia. So some people still loving her. The Queen's dignified persona and age and the centrality of the English language in global affairs are powerful enough to temper some criticisms, that person added. She's seen more as the mother of the world. Mixed views were also found in the Caribbean, where some countries are removing the British monarchs as their head of state. You have contradictory consciousness, said Maziki Thame, a senior lecturer in development studies at the University of the West Indies in Jamaica, whose prime minister announced during this year's visit of Prince William, who is now heir to the throne, and Kate, that the island intended to become fully independent. The younger generation of royals seem to have greater sensitivity to colonialism's implications, Thame said. During the visit, William expressed his profound sorrow for slavery. Nadine Spence, an activist, said appreciation for Elizabeth among older Jamaicans isn't surprising, since she was presented by the British as this benevolent queen who has always looked out for us. But young people aren't awed by the royal family. The only thing I noted about the Queen's passing is that she died and never apologized for slavery, Spence said. She should have apologized. Yeah, I agree. I can agree with that. Associated Press journalists around the world contributed to this. Okay, well, that was that. I just wanted to start off with something talking shit about the Queen. You know, you don't hear a whole lot of that in the mainstream news, and I'm sure the people who listen into my podcast really don't hear a lot of that either. It's just my family and some friends.
Yeah,
So
so it's basically the whole African or the African region. All the nations are like, fuck that woman. Basically.
it seems that way. Yeah, except a few of the pawns. You know, there's a few of them that don't agree. Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
I spilled
it's
my
like
weed.
every fucking country. Some people sell out, but the common folk
Well,
are like, yeah, fuck the queen.
well, basically, I think that if they would let everybody sell out, if they would let everybody get a piece of that pie, they would probably have a lot easier time controlling and, controlling the entire world. But they don't. They only allow some people to get rich. And everybody else is subject to, I don't know, good and bad, I guess. But I wanted to bring that up, talking shit, because now I got something from, it says that Putin says alien hybrids, aka reptilians, are the ruling class. I'm not going to play the video because it's probably going to make me go slow on my end. But I'll go ahead and, it's a short one. Let's read it out here. Yeah. Shockwaves are reverberating around the Kremlin today as word spreads regarding an extraordinary meeting called by Vladimir Putin yesterday, where, according to sources, the Russian president said that 95% of the world's ruling class are not even humans, but are cold-blooded hybrids who are members of an ancient cult. Let's talk about this cult. I think that you and I know a little bit about this cult. I know you talk to people who believe in this cult exists.
I mean, can you send me this link? I want to watch this video.
I can absolutely send you this link. Yes, I will right now.
I mean, what the fuck?
This is old. 2016, and so is another one that I'm gonna show you. Is another old one. It seems like all the new shit, Ronnie, is that's not what I wanted to do. Son of a bitch.
Just
Copy and paste. That's all I'm trying to do here. Copy and paste. All right, now find the chat.
Control C and Control V. Yeah. So is he referring to some Anunnaki shit or what? What's he talking about? Does he get any more specific?
The video does. Here it is. Sorry about that. Okay. Took forever. There you go.
Let's see. So, oh, the video is not available.
It's no longer available. Go figure. Let me read the rest of it. It's just 2 paragraphs. Resisting general attempts by close aides to stop the president going there. I imagine stop the president going there, meaning stop talking about that. Putin said that the evidence was everywhere and that he personally had intimate knowledge of their dealings. According to your newswire, he said that he was not one of them, but they are afraid of him and have attempted to lure him into their ancient Babylonian cult. I wish that video was available right here. That segues into this guy. I mean, that's coming from a world leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's some David Icke shit. I mean, reptilian motherfuckers.
Yes.
And this is supposedly Putin saying it. What the fuck is going on?
Well, when you get into astrology and, you start reading about angels and, star seeds from throughout the universe and other dimensions, there's a lot of reptilian races. I mean, if you believe in that kind of stuff, I tend to be on I believe in that kind of shit. I mean, my podcast is Searching for Starseed. I'm all about what's outside this earth, what's outside this earth and what's outside our realm. What's here isn't cutting it. Yeah, there's more videos that aren't there anymore. But this is another short one. I'll go ahead and read this one. This is what the hell? The Queen of England admits she is not human and will learn to accept her for what she is. Okay. Okay, Queen admits she is not human, and we will learn to accept her for what she is. I keep reading and hearing talk of full disclosure regarding extraterrestrials. Every day I see a new article or hear something new from David Wilcock. I do notice there are more movies and TV series regarding aliens, UFOs, and interacting with them. But why don't they just get on with it? Because I'm trying to sort out what is real and what is propaganda. I put together a survey asking who believes in aliens and who believes we will have full disclosure. The survey was taken by 2,360 people. Here are these results. Do you believe in aliens? 77% says yes, 23 no. Do you believe in NASA as a reliable government agency? 32 yes, 69 no. Do you believe in Project Bluebeam? About half and half, 54 yes, 46 no. Okay, do you believe in full disclosure will ever happen? Full disclosure is 29% yes. But it will be a false flag, is what they're saying, Project Bluebeam. And that's at 34%. And no says 36%. So they had 3 answers in that one. And if you believe we will receive full disclosure, who will give us this disclosure? 34% of these people said Vladimir Putin. It doesn't say who the rest of it is. It's kind of a vague report. But recently it was reported in an internal document acknowledging that Queen Elizabeth is a shape-shifting reptilian was briefly published as a press release on the royal family's official website before being abruptly taken down. But not before alert internet users captured screenshots of the extraordinary article and proof that the press release did appear on Google. Said earlier this week, the Queen was seen by thousands of people in a form they are not acquainted with. We seek to reassure the public that the Queen is still the Queen and remains the respected and loved figure they have always known. While she may not be human, she is a devoted leader and monarch, and she believes her subjects will grow to accept her and her family for what they are. Wow. While
What
she
the
may not.
What is that statement? She may not be human. What the fuck do you mean?
Well, that's the second paragraph in here. It's a little blurry. It's a screenshot. I don't know if this is fake. This could be fake as hell, but is it interesting? I think so. This had my wheels turning. So the Putin's account of the Queen. British media reports criticized Vladimir Putin during a 2014 visit to the Queen because of his refusal to help the monarch down the stairs and because he generally kept his distance from her. But 2 years later, Putin has revealed why he kept his distance from Queen Elizabeth at the gathering. He told close associates and aides that he was alarmed when the Queen showed her true reptilian bloodline colors by shape-shifting a number of times while he greeted her. He claimed the Queen shifted between reptoid and human form 3 or 4 times while meeting with Putin. Now, I've seen this picture. You've seen this one before, yeah?
I don't think I have.
Where her eye right here is kind of, I can't, it won't let me do that, but her eye is, looks like it's completely black, one of them. According to Putin, when the Queen revealed her underlying reptilian nature by shapeshifting, her face turned scary, with evil-looking slit eyes and a long dragon-like snout. Her skin also turned a gray dishwater color. He also saw the old monarch shapeshifting when Obama and New Zealand's Governor General Jerry Matapare helped her down the stairs. Putin said that when Obama held the Queen, her hands turned reptilian green and scaly, and when she smiled, she revealed sharp and spiky teeth that glistened evilly. Putin accused the Queen of shape-shifting repeatedly as a warning not to mess with her, as the high priestess of the world-ruling reptilian Illuminati clique. Princess Diana confided in friends about reptilian Queen Christine Fitzgerald, a brilliant and gifted healer who was a close friend and confidant of Diana for 9 years, was one person to whom Diana told stories of the Queen Mother because of Christine's understanding of the esoteric. Diana was able to talk to her about matters she would not dare share with anyone else for fear of being called crazy. Her nicknames for the Windsors were lizards and the reptiles. And she used to say in all seriousness, they're not human. Diana told Christine that the Queen Mother was the power behind the Windsors, along with Prince Philip, but Philip was subordinate in the hierarchy to the Queen. Diana used to tell me that the Queen Mother was evil, Fitzgerald said. She actually used the word evil. She said she hated Queen Mother, and the Queen Mother hated her. During her time at Clarence House, before the wedding, Diana told Christine she was being given drugs like Valium. They drugged her, Christine said. I'm sure of it. They had her They had her dope from the start. Christine's own words, according to Christine. The Queen Mother, now that's a serious piece of wizardry. The Queen Mother is a lot older than people think. To be honest, the royal family hasn't died for a long time. They have just metamorphosized. It's sort of cloning, but in a different way. They take pieces of flesh and rebuild the body from one little bit. Because it's lizard, because it's cold-blooded, it's much easier for them to do Frankenstein shit than it is for us. I want to do some Frankenstein shit. The different bodies are just different electrical vibrations, and they have got that secret. They've got the secret of the microcurrents. It's so micro, so specific. These radio waves that actually create the bodies, these are the energies that I work with when I'm healing. She also commented, the Queen Mother is Chief Toad of this part of Europe, and they have people like her in each continent. Most people, the hangers-on, don't know, about reptiles. They are just in awe of these people because they are so powerful. Christine went on to say, Balmoral, the Queen's Scottish residence, is a very, very nasty place. That's somewhere they went to dig underground. They will find reptile fossils. It goes that far. Don't think of people like the Queen Mother and Queen Victoria as different people. Think of them as the same person, which after a while has had to replace their coat. When the flesh dies, that energy, while it's dying, will be immediately up someone else's jacksy backside. It's very vampire worse than vampire. Christine also explains that fear is their food. The Queen Mother and others like her can actually take fear and manifest it into tangible things. The key is the vibrational current. At that vibrational current, they can manifest anything from anything. It's like a holographic image. We are all minerals and water vibrating. This is an illusion we are living in. That's the secret. When the monarchy's fallen, it's not the end of it. They will manifest it in another form. The reptiles have never been defeated, and this is the closest they have come to it. What, the Queen dying? So there's some more. I mean, nothing's concrete evidence that I'm bringing up today. This is all speculation.
Yeah, it's fun because I have an article here that Prince Philip said, the Queen's husband said that when he dies, he wanna come back as a virus to kill the population because he thinks we are overpopulated. In this article is from 2021. Did he die in 2021? Prince. Let's Google this. Prince Charles.
You asked if Prince Charles died in 2021. Well, there's speculation that Queen Elizabeth died a couple months ago.
Yeah,
About the same time when the Georgia Guidestones were blown up.
Yeah, it's Prince Philip I'm looking at. Charles is the king
Prince
now.
Philip. Yeah, he's not dead. Philip isn't dead.
Yeah,
No,
Philip
isn't
is
that-
dead. Philip is dead.
Well, what fucking prince is the one that was about to go to jail? The
Oh,
one that
that's
was in cahoots with Epstein.
that's Andrew.
Oh yeah, okay, it's Andrew. Yep, that sounds right. I guess it's hard to keep track of people I don't give a shit about.
Yeah. So the stories you're talking about here, that's I mean, I'm conspiracy minded. I like this stuff. That's so fucking deep. To be frank, I'm more into I'm looking into the CIA stuff and looking at global news.
Yeah, this is provable.
Yeah. So when I hear this, I think of David Icke, and I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't
Do you
dismiss it.
David Icke?
No,
Okay.
I don't take it literally. I don't think that they actually shapeshift them. Well, maybe you never know, but
How could we?
I see it more like they have an agenda and they don't give a fuck about anybody, and they're just going like full steam ahead as they do now with the agenda 2030. So I'm like that might be like a reptilian that wouldn't give a fuck. They just goes around,
cut out when you say the
eat
influence.
bugs and stuff like that.
See, I
Now
don't
the
know.
internet
It's hard
is low. for you.
Yes, it
Just
is. And you cut out a lot of that. I'm trying to piece together what you were saying and try to respond to that. What I got from that is that you think that they're just people who don't give a shit. Like they
yeah,
look at us like we're animals, basically, like you and me. What kind of human is like that? I don't. It. I don't know. I can't dismiss what David Icke says either. I don't know everything he says, but I have looked at some of the shit he says. I haven't read any of his books yet, but I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not. I guess I don't know. Shape shifting. I've never seen it,
No, me
but
neither. I've seen videos about people supposedly suggesting someone's shape shifting.
they nailed the face.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not convinced.
Mm-mm. I haven't seen anything convincing except testimonies. They
Yeah,
people's testimonies when they have nothing to lose. It gets my brain going, and I won't dismiss Dick and Jane or this Donald Marshall right here. I brought him up. I asked you about him before we started recording. If you heard of him, well, this guy, okay, he says he's a cloned song/sex slave to the elite. And he wrote this letter to whomever would give him an interview. I believe this was back in 2016. I might be 2012 is what this says actually. And
does he
I
have
can't
an
find anything
email?
about him after. It was an open letter as far as I know. It was on oh shit, I don't know where they found it, to be honest with you. These websites I'm getting this shit from, they're forums on a site called stolenhistory.net. All right, can you see the letter from Donald Marshall?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna read. I'll probably skip through shit that don't sound important or interesting, but it says this is no hoax. This is no joke. My name is Donald Marshall. I have been cloned by a large secretive cult known as the Freemasons and the Vril Society and Scientologists, together called the Illuminati. They make replicated bodies of people to victimize in terrible ways. They clone children for men with underdeveloped penises to have sex with. Some very famous and politically powerful people all getting together for a disgusting time. Most of the G20 gather there to discuss worldly matters and watch gruesome things done to innocent people for sport. I have seen this firsthand, and I will tell all, as it must be stopped. The political people started bringing movie stars and musicians there to hang around with them. They can control who remembers the cloning facility and who will remain oblivious, even though not remembering still damages you. I know who is involved, the ringleaders and everything they do. It is basically a torture and child molesting factory. I was one of those children, but when I was young, to keep the perverts off of me, I started singing songs, original songs, very good ones. They told me to keep making these songs and I wouldn't get hurt, and so I did. Then they started bringing me there every day for songs as the celebrities wanted more. They called me the goose that laid the golden egg, the phenomenon, but I ran out of ideas. Then the torture began. They smashed my face to start, throwing me around, scaring me. A 5-year-old, never letting me remember in real life until I turned 30. The torture worsened until I was being stabbed and burned and repeatedly sodomized. At age 30, they allowed me to remember these clone memories, and now every time I enter REM sleep, I'm there. I don't have dreams, only clone memories. They made the movie The Island and Inception about this subject. They think they're very sly and untouchable. Now this goes along with what you're saying. They just think they don't give a shit, Ronnie. And they have nothing to do but show off for each other in disgusting ways. They have no shame. It seems nothing embarrasses them. They sit there in the stands of an unused arena smaller than a hockey rink, but can still sit between 300 and 400 people with dirt in the center where the ice would be. They have frightens of children to the middle to be victimized for bizarre, disgusting spectacles, sometimes having animals, like dogs, have sex with them, while a man holds the leash so the dog won't bite them on the back of the neck, which I've seen happen before. They all they all try to outdo each other in their levels of depravity. To be evil is cool to them. Now to tell you about the ringleaders, as unbelievable as it may be to you, but you must believe me, this is a world emergency, this man's. The royal family of England, yes, Queen Elizabeth, Philip Duke of Edinburgh, and Prince Charles are the worst of them. Unbelievable depraved perverts, all showing off for the celebrities that go there. Elizabeth has the children there call her Lilibet and does ungodly things to them. For some she fakes being nice to, some she is terrible to, cutting them with swords while they scream. The decent people that are there against their will are afraid to say anything against them. Most have their children there as a kind of hostage to be, if they even think of informing anyone. But as they have been torturing me terribly anyway, I will tell all. Vladimir Putin loves to put the fear of torture and death into people, but is essentially a coward pervert himself. Most of the people are ashamed to speak or be seen by me there very much, as they're ashamed of the perverse and disgusting gatherings. I am a decent person and will not participate in these acts. So they use me as an example and torture me for being a good person. They've drugged me and had me say and do disgusting things in a blurred state, just in case any of this comes to light, so I can be hated as well by any that prove this. Yep. CSIS Canadian Intelligence are all involved, including a lot of commissionaires and Prime Minister Stephen Harper himself. They do what Elizabeth says, seem to follow her every whim without question. It doesn't matter who you are, if you have a cute child or a child with a money-making ability like song-making, they will clone your child and molest them. It's a pedophile's paradise. It must be stopped. Elizabeth secretly owns a few music companies, Universal and others, with bands under contract. She forces me while under the knife to compose music for them. If I can't, she will stab my clone, burn me, have her pervert thugs smash my body there. It's causing me some kind of heart damage and severe debilitating headaches. One good person there, Bernie Mac, comedian and actor, tried to stand up for me, speak up for me, saying it's not right to do to a human being. He tried to have others join him in speaking out against the clone torture zone. Elizabeth and Philip had him tortured so badly there was an example of their power. He had an aneurysm the next day and died. You know Bernie Mac?
I never heard that name.
Okay. Well, he very famously died. It seems like a decade ago now.
Your torture.
Now no one will speak up. Yeah, I found it.
Yeah.
Now no one will speak up. They're all afraid of suffering the same fate. Okay, all it will take is a few lie detector tests. I will volunteer for them. They cover up for themselves so carefully that it will be the only way. I know of many non-famous people that could be given a lie detector test to just to prove this. When it comes to sexual exploitation of a child, lie detectors are admissible in Canadian courts. So I need decent people with integrity to speak about this filthy business to tell who is involved. There is much more to tell. I am a wealth of information about this topic. Also, Elizabeth and Princess Diana Spencer Elizabeth had Princess Diana Spencer killed by having someone shine the brightest light known to mankind through the window side on the car. They swerved away from it and hit the divider. It was no paparazzi. Diana survived though, and while either on the way to or in the hospital was injected with a high concentration of salt, which is near undetectable, and died. She did this because Diana was going to marry an Arab. Diana hated them, knew about the cloning stuff, and wanted nothing to do with it, but was afraid of being killed, so said nothing. I know this and many more things that I will be more than happy to tell. I beg you reading this to help me. I swear this to be true with my right hand to God. They stupidly put my face on the Megadeth album, The World Needs a Hero, when I was 23, thinking nothing would ever be proven. Google image it. I still look the same. It shows what I end up looking like after a clone gathering. Most of the members of my family are there some, Most of the members of my family are there some willing, some not. Okay, so he is, whoever wrote this, I can't read it. So remember, in real life, some don't. None will do anything for fear of torture and death. My family has one by one been turned against me. They told them things like I secretly hit or molested their children, poisoned their pets when they died of sickness, things like that to make them hate me and not want to help me. Even if they side with me and say they don't believe it's true. Elizabeth then says, "Are you calling me a lawyer?" In her disgusting croaking voice, made as low and evil sounding as she can make it, complete with psychotic, malevolent glare. And they say, "No, no, of course it's true," stuttering, afraid. "My mother, Catherine McMahon, sold me into this sex torture slavery when she remarried a man named Gordon Cohoon. His whole family is in this scummy secret society. His brothers, Tom and Tony Cohoon, his sisters, Darlene and Bernadette Cohoon. They fear the new and improved lie detector test, and that is all it would take to prove this is true."
Before you go on, what was the Megadeth album? Can you scroll up a bit?
Yeah, it was The World Needs a Hero.
The World Needs, okay.
So halfway through making this document, they brought me there and introduced me to a man named Troy Landry. He is an alligator trapper from Louisiana on the TV program Swamp People. My wife loves that fucking show. Anyways, he said if I sent this letter out, he would take a power drill to my shin bone and suck the marrow from my bones, kind of like a spinal tap. One of the worst things you could do to a clone besides burning. I said the letter will be going out. I have to escape this place. And so we did that. It was excruciatingly painful. Everyone in the crowd. Troy Landry is an insatiable child molester and an extra retarded clone. In Louisiana, when he sees a young boy he likes, he asks his name, tells him he's an alligator, and shakes his hand. Then asks his pedophile friends at the local cloning station to find boys' blood records to clone him. Months later, the identical boys go for Troy Landry to rise before the crowd of onlookers. They all do this. It's just a way of life to them. They consider themselves the privileged people in the World Power Organization. Another deplorable thing they did in real life, the Canadian government was trying to lower the amount of prostitutes on the streets. Also, Elizabeth hates prostitutes, so they had a man named Robert Picton start killing them and feeding them to pigs on his pig farm. They had a camera set up in the upper corner of his room in his house and recorded him hitting them in the head with a hammer. Excuse me. They took the recordings and all watched them at the cloning station. Elizabeth loves watching it. Says she has a macabre, I think that says macabre, fascination with death. Prime Minister Stephen Harper knows all about it. Has seen the recordings and cheers as the rest of them do. If Mr. Picton ever says anything about them or the recordings, they will make him have a heart attack or an aneurysm. Phew, there's a lot of crazy conspiracies in this, man. a lot of theories that. Okay, you may ask, why don't they just kill me before I send this document everywhere? It's because I've done so much since age 5. No one wants to be responsible for my death. They've said I'm the New Age Jesus. I'm not. Then I'm the Antichrist. Also, the Jewish people there, which there are more of them than there are anyone else, called me Mashiach. I didn't know what that was until I looked it up, but it means Jewish Messiah, also, which I am not. Now, everyday rich people go there. You may ask why they won't just kill me before I send this document everywhere. It's because I've done so much since age 5. No one wants to be. Alrighty. Yeah, since I keep getting cut off, I'll just stop reading that crazy wacko stuff right now. And you said you had some stuff to share, huh?
Yeah. So first of all, we need to go. So this is the Megadeth album you talked about. So I'm supposed that's the guy that wrote
He says that's a clone
of himself, I guess.
That's the guy. Yep, that's the guy. What was it? I can't remember. Donald Marshall says that is him cloned, and just after his torturing.
Yeah, that's yeah, I like that. I mean,
that's a hell of a claim.
Well, it's not that big of a claim because I'm going to show you something here. Here we have an article from The Guardian, and they are supposedly the truth, if you ask what the media is. And he is Epstein reportedly hoped to develop super race humans with his DNA. And why does Epstein come up here? And he had a ranch where he was trying to build a Yeah, well, as he says, he wanted to make 20 females pregnant and to bring his supposed super genes out to the people. And yeah,
Yeah, we could come up with a new platform where we could share this shit. I wish I'd know what the other platforms are to use. I have a hard time with Zoom myself.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
yeah. So here we have Epstein and Ghislaine on the Queen's cabin. Here below is the Queen
Ooh,
on her summer evening doing some. Oh, she's eating something. But
eating pancakes, it looks like.
Yeah, but Epstein had the privilege to take his girlfriend to the same place. So,
Sit
so
on the
they,
same bench.
yeah, so they're super close. So that's why the cloning thing is like it might not be that it's too far. I mean, I'm not that conspiracy crazy, but maybe maybe it might be something. And then we
Hey,
have
this is 2022, man.
yeah, the world is fucking crazy. And we have this picture. Here we have Ghislaine on the throne with Kevin Spacey, and you're not ordinary people if you're sitting on the throne in the palace. I mean, you have some super, super special privilege if you have the chance to sit on the throne. So I guess it's not impossible. I mean, this why I bring up Epstein because you was reading about their fucking children and stuff like that, and Kevin Spacey is, I think is he already going to jail for that, or he is about to go to jail for fucking children?
I don't know. All I know is he's not in jail. At least I'm pretty sure he's not in jail. And he's really smug about the fact that he likes to fuck teenage boys, isn't
Yeah, yeah, he was fucking the cast
he? Yeah.
when he was doing the what's the series called? It was a really good one.
House of Cards.
Ah, yeah,
I
yeah,
loved that show.
yeah, it was super good.
And then when he got in trouble though, that last season, his the wife took over and she became president. That's it made the entire show shit. It was awful. The last season, I don't know if you caught that or not.
No, I didn't see the last season. I just watched like the first four or something. It's always the same
Yeah.
when I find a series that I like and I catch up and they have a pause for a year, I never get to watch the last thing because I never. Yeah. So
It's pretty common that in the, oh,
here we have
okay, sorry. Go ahead.
the queen's husband. He is a very nice fella because he said, and I quote, "In the event that I'm reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly virus to contribute to something to solving overpopulation." I mean, this is fucking Yahoo News. This is not some. He said that shit. That's so fucking crazy that when you read about them reptilians and the
Yeah.
fucking you know they're fucking kids because they're best friends with people that fuck kids. So the question is just only are they reptilian or not? Because they're yeah, for sure fucking kids. And then we have this final thing here.
I'll say yeah, just for the sake of fucking.
So we have this, the Vlad the Impaler. How is Prince Charles and Queen Elizabeth related to him? And this is CBS News. This is the fucking mainstream of mainstream news you can get. And they're saying that they are related to the Romanian fucking maniac through great grandmother Mary of Teck. So I'm like,
Jesus.
so yeah, they're supposedly related to the most evil people in the world, and they're also running with Epstein and Andrew, the prince. He has been accused of like he's raping a lot of kids, and the crown is protecting
Teenage
him.
women, yes.
So
yeah, and
so the question is,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I keep interrupting you. I'm not trying to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, so the question is just, are there reptilians? Maybe, maybe not. But we know for sure they're running with Epstein, they are fucking children, and they are relatives to the Vlad Impaler. So if
Right. Now
anything,
I'll bring up some conspiracies. I'll bring up some conspiracies without the articles real quick. I haven't looked it up, but just from what I've heard through the conspiracy vine, the theory vine, um, like Queen Elizabeth II is a direct descendant of Muhammad through the Muslims when they ran or when they conquered Spain. When they ruled Spain. I guess she's a direct descendant of them. Um, Epstein, he also has or had a bunch of money invested or tied in with science. He wanted to get his sperm out there for one. He was also into cloning. That's what he was. I mean, some of his money was looking into the science behind cloning. That we know they clone animals. Uh, a lot of the beef here that we eat in America, at least, is cloned, a hybrid from cloned beef. So the technology, saying that we have the technology to clone humans is actually believable. It's very believable. Now, all through the mainstream media, we are getting disclosures about UFOs, UFO technology. The American military admitted that they are reverse engineering UFO technology. And this is all out in the mainstream now. And I just don't see it hard to believe that we have aliens here trying to rule us. Or not trying, doing a damn good job at it for hundreds or thousands of years now.
yeah, just because I'm the guy that actually, I'm not trying to do the David Icke thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got you.
I got Science of America here. Are we eating clone meat? And the answer is yes.
Yes, we
if
are.
if you are started, because I know Alex Jones went on Tim Pool, and he said that, as you said, 80% of the meat in America is clone meat,
It is
and
80%.
yeah, or something like that. And Tim Pool was like, "Fuck that, that's not true." And yeah, that's yeah, you're eating clone meat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm quoting Alex Jones here. Actually. I don't watch him like religiously or anything like that. I see him when he comes on a podcast that I watch. And Tim Pool was one of the last ones I seen him on, but he also goes on Tinfoil Hat podcast and talks about this shit too.
Yeah,
And Joe Rogan podcast.
I
Yeah.
watched him today actually. He was on Steven Crowder, so
Oh,
I watched him today. So I like Alex. He's entertaining for sure. He's
very, very entertaining.
he's very hyperbolic, like because he like Steven Crowder asked him about a woman prosecutor, and he said like, she's openly saying on Facebook that she's taking money from George Soros. And Crowder was like, is she actually saying that? So it was like, okay, she's not saying it, but she has links to her donators, and the donators are George Soros organizations. So it's kind of like when he said the frogs are gay. Well, they wasn't gay. They turned, like, they changed their
Their gender.
gender when they, what was the, whatever the fucking thing they drank from the fucking fields. So that's the same thing when he says, the woman says she is a George Soros stooge. She just have links to her contributions where she gets her money, and the money is paid by George Soros. So she basically says it. She doesn't write it down. She just links to the who is paying her. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and Alex Jones can't go on a show like Steven Crowder's and actually be literal. You got to read through the lines in a show like that because they'll just cancel them and then nobody will be able to watch them unless you go pay. And I love the paywall thing for podcasters and creators, but we got to be honest here. Not everybody can fucking go pay to watch what Alex Jones has to say, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a small issue. That's the thing with Tim Pool also, because I'm paying him $10 a month, and I like the things he says when he's not on YouTube, and they actually can speak up. But you can't pay for like 50 shows. You have to choose.
Yeah, you gotta.
At the moment, I'm paying for Ripple Effect, OBDM, Higher Side, Team Pool, and maybe one more. So it's like that's almost 50 € a month just in podcasts I like. So you have to choose.
Yeah, I pay too much for podcasts. Yes, I pay too much for podcast. You know, I do the higher side chats. I do Rise.tv, and Gaia, and those alone are almost $30 a month, and they're worth it. I'm not gonna say they're not worth it, but to pay more for more shows, it's hard to do. It is really hard to pick and choose what you want to choose from. And a lot of the guys I like to listen to, they're great, but I'm sufficient listening to their free shit. Um, Personally, me, I like the supernatural. I like the deep conspiracies. It's fun to me. It gives me hope, because if I was just to look at the corruption between the agencies, the letter agencies and the governments, it doesn't seem like there is any hope at all. It seems like no matter what, they continue to gain power and take ours. It's the way it's been going since I've been alive. Since that's what I've seen personally. But my dad talks about it. My grandfathers used to talk about it. There's just no hope. So you gotta look outwards. You have to look at the spiritual, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have a hard trouble with the spiritual things. At least if you're thinking about like joining a church or something, because I grow up with that and I'm really skeptical. And I had my cousin on here, and he was speaking about the church because he's a priest, and I think I'm even more skeptical now after talking to him. Even he tried to be convincing about the church is not corrupted, but I'm like, I don't think he realized how corrupted it is. So I'm like, yeah,
He's been indoctrinated, and it's obvious. So how was it when you got out of? I mean, were you religious yourself and broke away from the religion, or was it something that you were just engulfed in?
it's I don't know how to describe it, because I was praying, and when I was young, I went to the gatherings and listened to the people reading the Bible for like 15 years every Sunday, and I prayed almost every day. And why I stopped praying is because I had some serious medical issues with my body. And I prayed, and when I stopped praying, I got healed. So that's like, I have some concerns that maybe the devil was like, well, he's not praying anymore. Let's heal that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's in my back of my head, but I'm also like, if God is good, why the fuck didn't he do anything? Because my skin was so dry. So when I took my hand and is it needle? No, not needle. The thing on the top of the finger, and dragged it on my skin. It was like having a knife. I It started like bleeding. I was that dry, and life sucked for like 2 years.
Wow, what was that
It
condition?
it's because I'm allergic to dust and furry animals. So apparently my skin dries up when I'm close to animals or a lot of dust. So
Damn, you would not make it nice at my house. There's a lot of dust from the dirt roads and a lot of fucking animals.
yeah,
Well, I hope you got that under control.
at the moment it's fine. I have no issues that I need to worry about at the moment. But the thing is also, because it's weird, because I got help from my my cousins, my family, they made sure I got a new job and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, they're religious and they're helping me, so maybe God helped me to get a new job. And I just stopped praying too early or something. I don't know. I feel like every time I try to pray, I get it's like God is fucking with me. If I pray for sun, it's raining tomorrow. And if I pray for health, I'm sick tomorrow. It's a weird thing. I have a weird relationship with praying, so I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd make me uneasy for sure. Yeah, that for me, religion is I think that's the downfall of spirituality. I think I think that religion killed it all. They literally and hypothetically. I don't see how a God could be okay, a loving God could be okay with slaughter and raping and pillaging of entire nations just to make them conform. Um, you know, I've talked about it before. I've been in jail a lot, and I spent time in the Bible praying, and it's it was enlightening at first, but it did. It seemed like I wasn't doing anything except talking to the fucking ceiling. Um, I've always gotten more out of history, reading history about faith, about the gods, not God. So the community aspect of religion is beautiful. Like you said, your Christian friends helped you, you know, and they helped you get a job and whatnot. And they're very charitable people here too, all over America. That's where a lot. I'd say most of the actual charity is given out is by Catholics or Christians. So, but as far as conforming to a religion and worshiping a god or a priest or a rabbi or an idol of any type, I don't believe that's why we're here. You know, I think that what we're supposed to be worshiping is out there. It's just it's the mind. It's in our mind.
Yeah,
I'm at
I agree. And also if you go to the Christian God, I feel like if you read the Old Testament, the Christian God is basically evil. He's killing a lot of people in the Old Testament. He's killing all the firstborn in Egypt. He also killed a whole army and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm not sure how to even when they say God is good and he's all loving. Well, you sure have to be on his side because if not, he is fucking killing you. So, and he also had the flood that wiped out the
yes,
world.
and
So it's like he has reset the world a few times if you look at just the Bible history. I think Stalin and Hitler and what's the guy in China? Mao. They have to
Mao Zedong.
yeah, they have to take a back seat when they're looking at the gods killing count. He's fucking
Yeah,
going crazy.
and that mentality, if you're not on his side, you're evil, you're going to hell. I mean, that goes down, trickles down to his followers. There is an aspect of the Christian religion where if you don't subscribe to what they're telling you, you will go to hell, and they're not a fucking afraid to tell you either. And I have family like that. I'm hoping. Oh, right now my mom isn't bad, but she's having an enlightenment in her life right now, where she is really finding the Christian God and trying to point me back in that direction. And I don't know. So what I did is I went out and bought the Kabbalion, and I bought Necronomicon, and I bought Hermetic or what the hell Hermetica, and that's about basically, I don't know if you know Hermes and the ancient Egypt religion. That's what these books are about, and magic. So I'm gonna read a little bit of history and just try to argue with my mom a little bit because I love her.
Yeah, yeah. Why not? Why not? I feel like yeah. That's I don't know anything about that especially, so I can't argue with like for or not. I just know that I have sleep paralysis. I talked about this with Nate from Reality Source, and I feel like there are demons coming to talk to me when I have sleep paralysis. So I think there's something that's good and evil in this world. I've never interacted with something good, like a spirit that's good. It's always evil spirits, and that's what my cousin said. If you have a answer, like if you ask Allah for something and you get it, he basically said that's Satan talking to you. So I'm like, I don't know.
It sounded so matter of factly too. They say it like it's absolute. Like there's no
Yeah,
other way. It has to be Satan offering you or helping you out. And yeah, I don't vibe with that either, man. It kind of just rubs me wrong.
yeah, yeah. Because I'm more with the old religions, as you're going to read about. Like, they just ask the universe. Because when I've been asking no specific God, I'm just like, universe, I need you right now for something, especially money wise. I'm like, I have hard time with money now. I would like some help, and somehow I get like overtime for 2 weeks for no fucking reason, and I'm like, okay,
It was Satan, buddy.
yeah, yeah,
That-
that doesn't work for me. Like, why the fuck would he do that? I'm
Right.
not even asking him. I'm not.
Well,
I'm not asking any specific god. I'm like, sometimes I'm thinking about. I'm just for fun. I'm like, Enki, if you're out there, like what's the gods? Enki. He's the guy that supposedly built the pyramids. My bread is dead. Too late. I need to go to sleep at some point. But yeah. Anyways, I'm like trying to ask him, nothing happens. But when I ask just the universe, most of the time I get some kind of answer. I never got anything. I asked God. So
yeah, you don't. I'm the same way. I have never been able to ask him anything and get it, or the Christian God, never. And now I know that's not what it's supposed to be. And my mom would say, the meek supposed to be or inherit the earth. I think that's a quote in the Bible. I don't know what verse it is or whatnot. I mean, and the poor. I mean, the only way you're gonna go to heaven and being in Jesus' 1,000-year reign is basically if you're poor and you don't care about enriching. Maybe we could
oh
cut this one short.
yeah, you're back. But yeah, I'm just gonna say before we leave. So Enki is an Mesopotamian god. He is yeah, he is from Anunnaki, one of the Anunnaki gods that supposedly came down and made us learn how to build shit from the when the gods came down and fucked our women on this world, supposedly.
Podcast called Enlighten Me with Ronnie. You can catch him anywhere you can find podcasts. If you want to watch his videos, probably go to Rumble. I will get link information from him and put it in the show notes so you can check out his podcast without any effort. Thanks, Ronnie. Thanks for having me on your show again.
Yeah, thank you too, and the same for you. If you want to watch Kristian, search for Star Seeds on at least Spotify, I know, and you have FM radio and some. Do you are somewhere else at the moment?
Yeah, you can find me on Anchor or Spotify. I'm still trying to do the Rumble. Every time I upload on there, it's shitty quality. So I will work on that. But so far, it's Anchor and Spotify or anywhere else you can plug in my RSS feed.
Oh yeah, that's one thing need to put in the description the RSS feed because people really need to know how that works. So then they can find like every podcast in the world by using RSS feeds. That's something that people need to learn. So yeah.
Yeah, I was saying in my intro before we started how I use Podcast Addict. It's very fast. It uploads all my favorite podcasts just about right after they put them on, including yours and mine. And it's you find their RSS feed, and they also have a search function where you don't need the RSS feed unless you're paying for a subscription. So check out Podcast Addict or any other independent podcast players that are not Spotify or YouTube or iHeartRadio. Let's stop feeding the machine, people.
I so agree. I also have my podcast addict. I have 42 podcasts on that thing, and I linked the podcast to my friends on YouTube, and they asked me if they don't have video. I was like, I don't even know. I didn't even click. I'm a podcast dude. So I listen on Podcast Addict, and everybody else should do that. Go podcasting, people. The
Hell yeah.
internet is dead. The podcast is alive. And
Ronnie, I
people,
have to ask you. I'm sorry, I interrupted you again. Are you a member of Alt Media United?
I am not. I was actually thinking about that when I heard you saying. I think you said at some point that you are now. Or
Yeah, I sure am. If you check out
yeah,
altmediaunited.com, you will find my podcast on there along with many other great ones. Mark Steves is wonderful to work with. I think you ought to email him, buddy.
yeah, I should. I really thought that was a really super exclusive club, so I wasn't even thinking about it. But maybe I should.
No, you know what? It's not exclusive at all. I mean, they let me in with no audience. So, I mean, I know there's a little bit of podcast warring going on out there, but I don't know who's warring against who, and I wouldn't want to be a part of it. I'm pretty sure Mark Steves ain't a part of any of it.
Yeah,
I
the podcast war is so fucking. It's so fucking depressing.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm following some of both sides and I see them yelling at each other. I'm like, what the fuck, people?
Will you divulge in a couple names for me so I can go check it out?
Oh, it's what's the guy's name? I need to go on Twitter. He called Sam Triple out today. It's
It's not.
oh well, the Twitter is good when I'm on the computer. It's on my phone. It's ridiculous, but it's a guy that has been on Sam Tripoli's podcast for. He has been 2 times, I think, but then they had a fallout.
Who is it? Ryan Dawson?
No, I think it's some religious guy because
Oh,
they
what?
they had
Bishop?
no, yeah, he was early, but they had some issues because I think Sam didn't buy like the Christian Bible wholesale, and then they're like fighting, and it's so stupid.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be Googling my ass off today. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out then. Ronnie, you have yourself a wonderful evening if you can get to sleep.
Yeah, I need to go to bed. It's way too late. Hey, thank you, Kristian. It was fun talking, and happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks. Same here, buddy.
See ya.